Good morning and welcome back to Paris. We had an action-packed Saturday yesterday. If Sunday is even half as good, we are in for quite the treat. I'm Charlie Bosco. Alongside me today, I have the ever-present for our coverage this weekend, Mike Langley, professional route setter, and IFSC athlete Sierra Blair-Coyle also joins us for the first half of this women's bouldering final. Sierra, you climbed in the qualifiers here. How have you found the World Championships experience?
It's just crazy. I mean, there's so many good climbers here, and the setting's so good. It's been exciting every single day, whether you're competing or watching. There's always something cool going on.
Yeah, if you didn't see the men's bouldering final yesterday, check it out. We had some incredible boulders. For me, a personal highlight for a start was Adam Ondra kicking one of the volumes, although we found out he did receive a warning from the IFSC judges for that slight comedy moment. But an amazing moment as well with Manuel Cornu giving 100% on men's boulder 4. How a shoulder or a bicep didn't explode, I have no idea. We also had a fantastic women's final where Janja Garnbret at 17 years old was crowned world champion. And going into the boulder final today for the women, we've got all sorts of climbers. We've got the veteran Anna Stöhr, we've got Miho Nanaka, second overall. We are, of course, missing Shauna Coxey. She picks up a shoulder injury in Munich in the last World Cup of this year. Looking at the field, who do you think's going to win today, straight up?
I mean, it's hard to say until I see how everyone's climbing today because a lot can change in between rounds. I think Petra looked the strongest yesterday, I would say, out of the finalists. But obviously it'd be cool to see Megan win because she's from the U.S., so it's anyone's game, really.
Slight bias here in the commentary box. It's okay, we can put up with that. And we can see here our venue in Paris. We're in the Bercy suburb of the city. It's southeast, I'm just quickly remembering the points of the compass, southeast of the Eiffel Tower and the Champs-Élysées and the most famous sites of Paris and the Louvre. We're about 5 kilometers from the most famous parts of the city. It's one of the biggest arenas in France. We had 8,000 people in the venue yesterday and 150,000 people watching our live stream apparently. So thank you for joining us. We once again have a packed schedule for you this Saturday. So first up, our venue MC Chris, who's certainly been earning his money. He's been keeping us entertained all the way through the qualifiers, the semi-finals and the finals. He is introducing the 6 finalists. First out, we've got Elena Krasovskaya, 16-year-old. This is an extraordinary stage for someone so young, but of course, Janja Garnbret, we saw yesterday evening, crowned world champion at 17. And another young climber, Megan Mascarenhas. She won in Vale last time out in an IFSC competition. Sierra, have you seen much of Megan in the run-up to this? Do you know how she's feeling, how her training's been going?
I think Megan's training has been going well. I mean, she looks like she's climbing strong, and she always looks confident. You know, I don't think anyone's showing up at this competition not prepared. I think they're all ready to go.
There's Petra Klingler. We mentioned her earlier. As you said, looked incredibly strong in the semi-finals. Real all-round athlete. Competes in ice climbing as well, believe it or not. So you would have thought lock-off power and reach, not an issue for Petra Klingler. Out next, Anna Stöhr. Fantastic for us as the viewers to have her in the show. Veteran and a legend of the sport. And I have to say, I've got a sneaky feeling this is going to be a good day for Anna Stöhr, but we shall see. Don't want to curse her. Out next, we're going to have Miho Nanaka. There she is. She was second overall, of course, in the Boulder World Cups in 2016. Her compatriot Tomoa Narasaki completed an extraordinary double yesterday, adding the World Championships to his overall Boulder World Cup win. And finally, make your way onto the stage here, Akio Noguchi. Third in 2014 World Championships. Quite the lineup, and remember that as with yesterday with the men's bouldering, the observation was done before we went on air. The observation was done at about 11:15, about 45 minutes ago. So we won't be watching the athletes observe each boulder. That was already done before the public even came into the arena. quite a strange moment, actually. We're used to that being quite a public moment where the athletes come out and we see them for the first time. But today it was a bit weird seeing them in front of an empty arena. It was almost eerie, but their observation is done. We're going to get straight into it. Just to confirm, there is your start list. Out first, we'll have Elena Krasovskaya. She'll be followed by Megan Mascarenas, Petra Klingler, Anna Stor, Miho Nanaka, and Akia Noguchi. And now we're just minutes away.
Wait, switch.
And Mike Langley, professional route setter, you were chatting to Percy Bishton. Percy Bishton. That's what 8 hours of live streaming yesterday does to your voice. And he was in charge of the route setting team for the bouldering here. We're also going to be speaking later on, I should add, to Jackie Godoff, a legend of route setting. He was a member of the team here. But yeah, in the meantime, you were chatting to Percy. You've had a look at these boulders. We had an amazing final in the men's yesterday. What can we expect from the women?
Yeah, that's right, Charlie. Well, obviously the route setters put on a fantastic show last night in the men's bouldering, and we're really hoping that they can equal that with the women's bouldering. The tour of blocks looks equally as good, and Percy assures me there's some pretty spectacular moves. So the show here in Paris continues. Women start on the far left of the wall, working their way on women's number 1, far left, as I say. Then they move on to women's 2, which is on the far right, and then they move to the centre to finish off the show in style in the roof and onto the slab to finish. So yeah, Charlie, as you say, women's bouldering tonight. I think it's morning, I should say. God, too many hours on this live stream. This morning, we had the women's bouldering final. I think it's going to be really spectacular.
Yeah, we had a frankly extraordinary day yesterday. I'm just trying to think where we started. We started out with Tomoe Narasaki, complete his incredible double. Adam Ondra pushed him close, 3 tops, but too many attempts for him. We then had paraclimbing, B1, an extraordinary final there, where the arena drops into silence and then the crowd erupt at the end of each attempt. It's always an amazing moment in the World Championships, one of my personal highlights. And then we had a men's speed final, won, as have been the last 3 World Cups, by Martin Zienski. And then we finished off with Janja Granberg completing what's been an extraordinary 2016 by becoming world champion in the lead. And Sierra, you've just had your first look at the boulders here in Paris. If you were about to come out and climb here, what would be your first thoughts?
I think my first thought if I was climbing in this finals would definitely be, how can I read these as accurately as possible and, just flash. I mean, I feel like everyone's so good at this level that it comes down to attempts so much of the time that, if you can do a boulder problem, make sure you can do it on your first attempt, because at the end of the day, that's really going to help you stay strong.
Just how to explain to us then, Sierra, when you're backstage here, you've got a huge capacity crowd here in the arena. How do you control the emotion backstage? How can you control the nerves? What tactics do you use to kind of come out and make sure you can actually climb your best? You've been training for years to get to this point. You want to put that power down on the boulders. How do you actually go about delivering that?
I mean, I think it's different for every athlete, but for me personally, if I'm climbing in front of a big crowd, I just know I'm prepared and that I deserve to be here, and I just want to do the best I can. And on a side note, if I'm feeling super nervous, I just walk out and pretend like it's another day in the gym where I'm climbing with my friends and want to send a problem before them.
Here we go then. The first Russian athlete out, Elena Krasovskaya, which gives us an opportunity to have a look at women's 1. As I said, starts on the far left of the competition wall here in Bercy. A pretty technical start for the women's, Sierra. It looks like we've got a bit of a bouncy slab, but then it gets a lot more furious in the second half of the problem. Bit of a dyno around the corner. We do believe it's going to be a particularly horrific mantle. So let's have a look at Elena and see how she gets on. How would you tackle this?
Man, I definitely think I'd be going for it kind of the way she is. You definitely want to use that arete because it's probably pretty good. And then you really have to watch that foot you're on because, it's good, but it's not that good. I think this is a mix of being technical and slow and knowing when you have to jump because it's a dyno right here. And she executed it beautifully.
Yeah, Elena is absolutely on fire. She's a potential surprise here in the finals. Not that well known for her bouldering final results this year. It looks like she's getting on board there with her leg. I think anything goes, what it looks like on this foothold here.
I think it's good that she's kind of sitting on that foothold too, because, oh well, she fell, but sometimes it gives you an opportunity to really feel the next hold, because that next flat hold is not very good.
When I was talking to the root setters earlier, they did say with that right hand bonus sort of, not really sure how to describe that big sort of knob hold that sticks out there. They were saying that you really have to get your hand right on that to flip it and start pushing it into a mantle. And I think that's going to be the most powerful section of this boulder.
Oh yeah, I mean, it gets real at the top. You know, you're definitely going to have to be on your game and doing it exactly how the setters intended.
Yeah, it looks like she's got the first section dialed already, which is great. Look, you know, the hold that she's mantling up to there would seemingly be upside down. You know, it's just a non-existent sloper, so it's going to be interesting to see how she can battle with that and make progress to the top, because the top hold is not a jug either.
Mm-hmm. Let's see how she does this part now, see if she mixes up the beta.
Yeah, we'll have a look at the lady. This is desperate mantle shelf rock over. The hole she's going for is not what you'd hope it might be, put it that way.
She's definitely fighting. I mean, you can tell that move is not easy.
So she's got minutes left on the clock, just over, plenty of time. Got the bonus on her first attempt, but no top just yet. As you say, Sierra, yesterday it was extraordinary in the men's final. Attempts so vital. And I'm sure these athletes will have watched that final and realised that every attempt has got to count. It's got to be a real serious attempt at getting a top. You can't feel your way up these boulders and use a few attempts, because yesterday that was what sealed it for Tomoe Narasaki.
Hopefully she gets a send on this next attempt. It'd be cool to see this problem go.
So teetering up rightwards. Seems to have this bit fairly sus. This jump is never certain though.
Nice.
So time's up. Of course, she's already off the ground, so she can finish her attempt. She won't be timed out. But whatever happens, this will be her last attempt.
Looks like she might be trying some different beta.
She is, so she's facing in entirely a different way. No, not for Elena. So, a flash of the bonus, but no top. Out next, a woman you know well, Megan Mascarenhas.
Excited to see Megan on this problem for sure.
So with nice timing, Megan Mascarenhas comes out. We've got Bruce Springsteen here, born in the USA. DJ's obviously got a sense of humour. And there is Sia 1 on her last time out, 4th in Innsbruck. Sarah's alongside me for that. The arena not dissimilar, albeit a bit smaller, but yeah, huge arena in Innsbruck, but nothing on this Accor arena here in Paris. As I say, we've got an 8,000 people sellout for today. Be really interesting. We're hoping we're going to see Megan in more IFSC events next year. That's certainly the plan. It'll be really interesting over a full season to see how she gets on. So far getting on just fine with women's one. Nails the move right.
Excited to see how she goes for this next move. Wow.
So Megan.
Oh my gosh, what a good top.
What a start to this final. Megan Mascarenhas, long way to go.
Amazing.
Just as we have another look then at Megan Mascarenas on women's one, she did really, really well to get that done. Just proved that women's one, for her anyway, is not too bad, but straight on with the next athlete, it's Petra Klinger from Switzerland. Petra's had a brilliant competition so far, has looked like definitely one of the on-form athletes to take the victory here in Paris. Petra qualified in with 2 tops in 2 attempts, so just behind some of the other athletes with 3 tops, but she was definitely one of the highest got one of the highest in the semi-final round, so she may have missed the top, but looked like one of the stronger athletes.
Yeah, 2 tops from Petra in the semi-finals, as Mike said, both of them flashes. 2 tops in 2.
It's a great camera angle here, as you can see just what it takes for Petra to come around the corner here. It's really difficult to come out into a final of World Championships into a really balancy slab problem, but look at the power of Petra Klinger just to switch that hand, mantle it out straight away. You can see that she's looking so strong at the moment. Here comes Petra. Come on. Oh, so close to the finish. Oh, come on, Petra. Yeah, great job, Petra Klinger. Do believe that was a flash. Look at the smile on her face.
So quite the start from Petra Klinger, quite the start to this bouldering final here. Just to confirm, that is a flash from both Petra and Megan.
Making this problem look easy.
Yeah, Lena Krasovskaya came out and that move looked extremely tricky. She flashed the bonus, but really struggled with the upper section, but Petra and Megan, no such worries. So out next, Anna Stor. 1-2 of these things, 2 World Championships, as well as a staggering list of victories. No World Cup wins this year, but 3rd last time out in Vale. Always goes well. She's made the final 9 out of 9 times that she's competed in Vale. And here she is, making her way on this move right on women's 1. And bearing in mind that 2 competitors out of 3 have flashed this. Already at this stage of the competition, you'd say a flash, not necessarily vital, but you would suspect a top will be. Of course, Anna Stor, world champion in 2011, world championship in 2007, and 9 years later, still in world championship finals, this time here in Paris. She would love a hat-trick. How she'd love a hat-trick. And she's certainly going the right way about it on this women's 1. Oh, she's just trying to find the sweet spot of that volume. Sarah, we're always hearing that climbing is becoming ever more professional. We've got climbing coaches. As a coach, or just as an athlete, how do you get in the mindset that each attempt is just completely separate from one that's gone before? We've just seen Anna Stor so close to topping that boulder. I'm sure she knows from the fact that she came out early that it had already been topped by Petra and Megan. How do you get in the mindset that, okay, that attempt's over, next one, without dwelling on it?
I think it really comes down to staying in the moment. I mean, the best you can do in your climbing is to just be focused on that move, that climb, and, getting the send. So regardless of how the past problems have gone, how the past attempts have gone, you just need to focus on this one attempt, and hopefully that's what she's going to do, and we'll see a send. She's looking more comfortable with the bottom section too, which hopefully make the top a little easier.
Yeah, coaches in all sports are always talking about process, but it must be hard when you come so close on a boulder and you just don't quite get the movement right. Much better this time. Famous last words. She was much higher up on the volume that time. She was a bit lower when she was trying to get it last time, almost doing it from straight arms. This time, much higher up. It seemed to have a bit more joy. I think we'll see a top here. As I say, I have a sneaky feeling she's going to get on well with the final today, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, it seems like she's finding the movement of the problem a little better now. She looked a lot more solid on this second attempt.
We can see here, if we stay with this replay, no, we're going to lose it. Yeah, Anna, the technical nature of many of the problems here. Remember, this Bercy bouldering wall, we've already seen 2 semi-finals on it and a final yesterday. It's not especially steep. I would say it's less steep than the average World Cup wall we see, so technicality vital. You'd have thought that will suit Anna Stor. This is what we like to see. When Sierra was with me in Innsbruck, we saw a lot of that from Anna. She is, of course, from Innsbruck, grew up there, still lives there. The crowd absolutely love her there, but she still gets a fantastic reception for this Paris crowd, which is still growing. People still taking their seats. I don't think they quite realise they've missed 2 flashes.
I think Anna's a crowd favorite wherever she goes. It's always fun to see her compete.
So, just needs to match. There it is. Anna Stor took a few more attempts. 3 attempts to the flashes of Megan Mascarenhas and Petra Klingler, but she gets there in the end. I think the key there was just to get the top and then go from there. Still 3 boulders to go.
I think it just showed there just the level of experience for Anna Stor. This is the World Championship final, and she was struggling with that top section, but just kept her cool. And it's just so impressive that she can continue to come out. Just have a look at the results then. Petra Klinger in one top in one flash. Megan Mascarenhas also flash. Anna Stor did take a couple of extra attempts, 3 attempts to get it done, but she did get it done in the end. And that was actually, for me, that was one of the most impressive ascents. She didn't flash it, but she had to work really hard and kept her cool all the way through. So we see our next climber then, Miho Nanaka. Miho won a couple of World Cups this season in 2016. She does wear number 1 on her back, so she is the current World Cup champion, making short work of this so far.
Not the current World Cup champion, that is of course Shauna Coxey.
Of course, yeah. Because Shauna's not here, I just get confused.
That's the audio equivalent of running backwards from Mike Langley there. We can forgive him. I think this is hour 12 of live streaming. It's all right, Mike. We can forgive you.
I'm sure she's more than capable of being World Cup champion anyway.
She wasn't actually that far away in the end. Shauna Coxey into a storming lead early in the season, but Miho began to rein her in.
So Miho also missing the flash on this first boulder, so attempts are starting to get burnt here. It's going to be interesting to see if that makes a difference later on in the competition. So
She's coming into this off the back of a win, of course. She won in Munich in August. We've had an amazing amount of climbing action since then. We've been in Imst, we've been in Arco, and now we're on to our 5th day of competition, 3rd day live here in Paris. What a weekend it's been. As I said right at the start of the broadcast, if today is half the day of yesterday, we're in for a treat. We had the most fantastic day here.
I think for those climbers at home who have been to the gym where you have these volumes, these flat hold volumes at your wall, you would know how bad they are. And you can see that the angle of these have been put on here. I mean, so difficult. The holds are so bad. But Miho Nanaka, no issue second time round. So has a cheeky little pull up to finish. Just Sierra, Miho Nanaka looking so strong right now.
She looks good. I was getting a little nervous when she was on that last hold, but she pulled it out.
Looks like the penultimate hold is the upside down flat hold volume. It looks like they're almost falling up that section. It just looks really, really hard to get the grip and make progress to the finish hold. Another great replay here, just shows you the skill of these climbers and how bad some of those holds are. She had no issues when she got the top hold. She knew it was in the bag. Nice and relaxed, and it'll pull up for the camera.
What a great send.
Out next then, the one and only Akio Noguchi. Another one of these climbers. She finds it harder to lose than to win. World rank number 3. Akio 3rd in Munich. And 3rd in Navi Mumbai. 2nd in Chongqing. 4th in Meiringen. So definitely not a surprise to have Akio in the finals. Sierra, when you've been backstage, you would have climbed with these girls. What's Akio Noguchi like to compete alongside?
I mean, I don't know her very well, but she's always been super nice to me. And, of course, I'm always very impressed with how she's climbing. So it's really just cool to see how good and how strong everyone is. You know, I don't think you fully realize it until you're next to them and you just see how hard the moves are and how bad the holds are.
For sure. Speaking of bad holds, this one here is so slopey, but oh man, Nakia Noguchi is on fire.
Making it look easy.
So impressive there from Nakia Noguchi. Came out straight out of the blocks and just walked up the first problem.
She's looking really good today.
If we had to make an early prediction then, Sierra, putting you on the spot, who for you is going to take away the gold medal?
Maybe Akio, I don't know. Between her and Petra and Megan, I'm not just going by the flash. Like, they just all looked so solid on problem 1.
So obviously your fellow American, Megan Mascarena, she's looking so strong. And how does she get so good at such a young age?
You know, Megan's been good for a long time since she was a lot younger. But I think it really just comes down to hard work and persistence. You know, you don't get to be good or, you know, you don't do well on accident, basically.
So we're on with the next rotation then, straight on to the far right-hand side of the wall, under this small roof section. It's the first time we've had a look at this boulder. Very powerful boulder, according to head route setter Percy Bishton. Says this is a completely different style to the first boulder. Spectacular moves on some very bad entreprise sort of undercuts to start. It looks like it's going to be biceps all the way here and a bit of a chuck to finish.
Yeah, this definitely looks a little funky.
Well, let's see how Elena gets on for the Russian athlete. We do believe Elena has taken the overall title this weekend, so she is no slouch in lead and speed.
That's so exciting.
Here we go, you can see those undercuts straight away, and that does seem to be the method that the route set has prescribed. Matching the undercuts, swapping feet on the French volume at the bottom there, and firing up to the bonus with your right hand.
Do those volumes even have texture on them? Because they look just totally slippery from here.
I think, yeah, I mean, for us they probably don't have texture, but for some of these girls I don't think they even need texture, to be honest. They're so strong.
Texture's just a bonus.
Texture's all in the mind.
I think with problems like this, it usually seems like people do really well on them or really struggle, just depending on the athlete. So I think it's going to be a struggle or like a warm-up.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, that's definitely what happened on the first problem, so let's see what happens on the second. So hopefully the ladies have had an opportunity to warm up the biceps, because you can see how steep that lower section is. Actually palming on the underside of this volume. Great close-up view there of how tough it is, and you know, I've set with that volume before, it's particularly nasty under there. Sierra, when you're climbing and training for these World Cups, World Championships, do you try and tour around as many different climbing gyms as possible to kind of get familiar with different climbing holds and volumes?
Yeah, I definitely try and hit different gyms to get used to, you know, the different holds and volumes. It's especially helpful like when I'm in Europe because, you know, you just have so many more options than in the U.S., at least in Arizona. You know, I've climbed everywhere a bunch, but I train at my home gym a lot as well to try and replicate some of the things you end up seeing.
Yeah, I've seen pictures of your home gym. Just tell us a little bit about that. How comes you ended up setting that up, and what sort of facilities have you got in there?
So my home gym, it basically has 3 walls, a vertical wall, a slab, and a 35-degree overhang. And so we're really just trying to put lots of volumes on stuff, lots of interesting movements, and just train there what you can't train at the commercial gym.
And do you get it route set by sort of professional route setters? Do you do a bit yourself, or how does it work, and how does it help your training?
One of the local guys is kind of the setter there. He does a great job. His name's Jack Lester, and yeah, he just watches the World Cups, has never competed in them, but does a good job preparing me, and I will say he's made me pretty solid on slab, I feel like, so no complaints there.
So obviously you've been working on your slabs quite a lot. Do you feel like now that you've got your home gym, a potentially better training facility, that's really helped your climbing?
I think it has, and I mean especially in slabs, because there have been a few competitions where it's come down to like flashing a slab that gets me into the next round, and you know, that's always good. Plus I just feel so confident on them, so now I just need to work on everything other than slab and keep slab sharp.
And obviously by the worst sections as well, so looks like the slab game is super important these days. Yes, here we go then, Elena. She's out of time on this, but she can carry on, but just seems to be too much, a bit too powerful under the roof there for her. Be interesting to see how the next climbers get on.
So quick recap of the scores for you there. Elena Krasovskaya. Plenty of success on boulder 1. Didn't quite top it, but a flash of the bonus hold. But women's 2 proving so far. Here is Megan Mascarenhas once again out to the strains of Bruce Springsteen, who apparently did play in this arena earlier this year. Can't honestly say I know the boss's touring schedule, but I'll take their word for it if they say he was here. You can see one of our cameramen there, right on the edge of the mats. That's how we get the close-ups. So Megan always
going for some interesting beta there.
Yeah, she always looks so composed. She's one of those climbers that just never really looks like she's trying, almost in the Jane Kim mold.
Yeah.
It's the same facial expression, just cruises on up. So again, that move up to the bonus hold, proving problematic. That the bonus hold is not great, I think it would be fair to say. It's at the limit of the reach for most of these girls, and it's when your arm is absolutely straight and your leg is straight, you're absolutely at the top of what you can reach. It does make life really difficult when you've got a sloping hold like that, and so far Megan not finding a solution.
I think it can be especially tricky too, coming over an angle break like that, you know. The hold's just in the wrong spot, your feet are in the wrong spot. It's really thrutchy.
Don't forget, we are on Twitter as ever during our live streams. Hashtag IFSC WCH, our World Championships and Paraclimbing World Championships 2016. Hashtag, get yourself on Twitter, hashtag IFSC WCH. As yesterday, we're going to have all sorts of guests. We've got athletes in lead, speed and boulder. We've got route setters, we've got IFSC officials. Right now, of course, we have Sierra Blair Coyle watching Megan Mascarenhas and trying not to be biased and not really managing it. Megan, of course, she flew out of the blocks this season, 3rd in Meiringen, 4th in Innsbruck and 1st in Vale. So pretty successful 2016 in the 3 World Cups she did take part in, only missed a podium once. Podium in the World Championships would not go amiss. But the same outcome for Megan, that bonus to hold. The arena is, I have to say, quite warm today. I think they control the climate as best they can. But it does feel slightly warmer. Remember, of course, the air conditioning isn't always on, so sometimes when the route setting team are working, this is going to have to be radically difficult, even though we're inside, climate controlled. They do experience different conditions, so perhaps a slight increase in temperature here, which might just be me, of course, but I think it feels a bit warmer. Could be affecting Megan. Either way, here she goes. Final attempt. That's time up. You might have. Needs to take her time. She's only going to get one more shot at this boulder. This time she gets the left hand.
Oh, she's got
right.
this.
The move off the. Oh, gimme though. She goes surely from here. We can see she is battling. Always looks calm and collected, but you can see just what a fight this boulder is requiring. The left foot goes up, getting ready for launch.
Oh.
Slip of the right foot.
Great attempt.
Be interesting to see that again. And we're going to have our first commentary box substitution. Thank you very much for joining us. I hope we will see you on the IFSC live stream next year. We really enjoyed having you, as we did in Innsbruck. Thank you very much for your time.
Oh, fingers crossed. Thanks for having me.
Okay, on with the competition then. One of the most powerful climbers in the final, Petra Klinger from Switzerland. That she can make of this. To me, this boulder looks extremely difficult. So, yeah, Megan Mascarenas has easily got the potential to take away a victory here, and even she struggled. So, it's going to be quite interesting to see how this boulder number 2 develops. Looks just, like I say, so hard through the bottom section. Not only are those volumes quite slippery, but it's so steep. The way that the route setters have put that on, you know, really burling on undercuts. Okay, so Petra having another look. 2 minutes, just over 2 minutes left on the clock. Petra Klinger, one of the favourites for tonight's final. Come on, Petra. Oh, not sure if the judge will give that as a secure the bonus, but that definitely will. Petra Klinger now looking good with incredible flexibility there on the left foot. The toe hook's really holding her in there, but she will have to release it pretty soon. And has she got the body tension to hold it? Here she goes. Oh, yes. Petra Klinger so strong in every section of her body there. Come on, Petra. Slight relax before the top section. Working so hard on another undercut. Allez, Petra. Come on, Petra. One of the crowd favourites here. Petra Klinger working her way to the top. Come on, Petra. Allez, Petra. The crowd's getting right behind her. Come on. Come on, Petra. Oh, just came up short. She was using that penultimate hold as an undercut with her right hand, and that just seemed to lose the distance for her heading up to the finish. The last hold it's kind of okay, but it's not great. Petra Klinger then just has 1 minute 20 left on this final second boulder, excuse me. Again, this is starting to look like one of the hardest boulders of the set, so you kind of think that the route setters are going to start splitting the competitors now on the second problem.
And our substitution has been completed. Like a game show, tell us who you are and where you come from.
I come from Serbia, and I'm really happy to be here again with you, Charlie.
Yeah, of course, we were together in Arco. Hard to believe that was only 3 weeks ago. It feels like a lifetime ago.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
this is a round you would love to have competed in. We saw you in the semi-finals, so close to being here in the final. I'm sorry to ask you about it, but tell us about the semi-final.
No problem. I mean, I was just one move away from my first World Championship finals. This is my second senior World Championship, and I topped the first one and the third one, which I think was considered, besides the second one, which wasn't topped at all, the hardest. So I thought that if I top the slab, I'll be in, but then I seem to have had more problems in the slab than I thought I would. And I was falling from the top. I just couldn't get up my right leg. But yeah, life goes on.
So you've had the luxury of watching the first rotation from the crowd without having to talk about it. What's your first impression of the boulders and the athletes, Pim?
Well, the first one seemed quite like a warming up boulder. It wasn't really physically hard. It was a bit tricky with this side dyno, but not as demanding as this second one is. And it's a pity that we haven't seen the top yet because they were really close, Megan and Petra.
Yeah, of course, we haven't seen a top on women's 2 just yet. Just to keep you up to date with the scores, Petra Klingler, she flashed boulder 1 and got the bonus on her second attempt on boulder 2. Megan Mascarenhas also flashed boulder 1 and got the bonus on her fourth attempt. They currently lead the way. Anna Sturr, she got boulder 1 in 3 attempts and making a superb start on boulder 2. Anna Sturr, this could be our first massive roar of the competition. Eyeing up that finishing hold. We saw Megan Mascarenhas get to here. Ooh. Anna, you could just see seconds before she went for that. It looked as if she just lost her balance.
These blue volumes are really slippery. I don't know if this is some special Paris editions, but there are a lot of volumes which are totally without any texture. And it's really hard to control the grip. We had these in our semi-final third, and the hands just kept sliding away from from the side. So perhaps from the undercling could be a beta for this one, but the top is really far away, so maybe they can just lie from the side on this volume. That could be one of the solutions. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a bit like on boulder 1 this morning here in Paris. Anna Sturr, really close attempt, but not quite close enough. It was interesting to watch that replay from the wall-mounted camera. You could see once she got the right hand over, her left hand just slipped an inch or so, and she didn't correct it. She chose to go anyway. Perhaps had she corrected her position, we might have seen a top. I think Anna Sturr will be feeling quite confident here, though.
Yeah, I'm really happy for her that she returned after last year of not having some good results and injuries and similar things. And I'm happy to see her now in Paris because she deserves it. She's really the class of bouldering, old school boulderer, and one of my favorites.
So Anna Sturr, 50 seconds left. 38 seconds, I should say. Either we experience a brief period of time travel or the clock just corrected itself. So here she goes again. She's got the crowd on side as ever.
She really did this first move on the bonus with ease. Hopefully she'll stick to the top.
Really sure in her movement. She knows what she needs to do here.
Yeah, but this is a long move and holds are really bad. These volumes are terrible. So the compression has to be really strong here.
So this time looking much more solid. Time's up.
Come on. Oh.
Anna Sturr, one hand on that top hold.
I think this move has to be done statically. This dynamic way could only be done maybe with the right hand and the undercling, but I think the statical way is better or more secure.
Let's have another look at this from our wall-mounted camera. Yeah, she got a fairly good hand on the top hold, but it's such a poor hold, it was not enough. So here's Miho Nanaka.
She might top it. I think she's capable of finishing this because she has this endurance and power, so she doesn't get so tired after doing so many moves. She's really physically prepared this year. She's strong.
Yeah, she had a fantastic 2016. Couldn't quite keep up with Shauna Coxey, but there's no shame in that in 2016. We see it there coming off the back of a win. Also won in Mumbai in May.
When she has the right moment, she really knows how to use it, and she can show her dominance and her skills as well. She's young, she's the same age as I am, but she's so experienced because she's been competing in the World Cup circuit, I think ever since she was Youth A.
So Miho Nanaka, she didn't really get on with her first attempt at all, but this is looking very promising with 2.5 minutes on the clock. Same method as Anna Stor.
And oh, that was close.
You can't get much closer. A very good, solid left hand, but she just couldn't quite control the swing.
Yeah, I think she needs some rest now. She won't use too many attempts because you get tired after doing all these moves in such a hard boulder. So probably she'll make one more attempt.
Let's have another look at this. Oh, there was a split second I thought she'd held it.
Yeah, she lost control just in the end of the swing when we thought she'll match. But she's totally full of finishing it.
So just to keep you up to date with what we've got this Sunday here in Paris, this is the women's boulder final at 1:30 p.m. or whenever this comes to an end. We'll have the Paraclimbing men's AL-2 final. That'll be followed by the podium ceremony for both of those events. And at 2:45 we have the women's speed final. Of course, Anouk Jobert, winner of the past 3 Speed World Cups, will be competing in front of a home crowd to try and match the achievements of Marcin Zienski, who yesterday, on top of winning the last 3 World Cups in the speed, also became world champion. So Anouk Jobert looking to match that. And then at 3:30 p.m, men's lead final, followed by both podiums and the closing ceremony. You can get in touch with us on Twitter, #IFSCWCH. Any questions for our guests? We're going to have athletes, route setters, IFSC officials, you name it. So keep sending your questions in and stay tuned in because there's not going to be much a break. It is a packed afternoon here. So Miho Nanaka. This boulder pretty physical. If she was to slip now, you wonder if there'd be enough energy for another attempt. She won't need it.
No, God, this was a risky move because double dyno in this last volume is not a secure way up. She has 7 seconds left.
I got to the last syllable of she won't need another attempt, and she does need another attempt.
She'll try, but I don't think she'll.
Surely, physically, this is just a step too far after after that last attempt. This compression nature of these moves.
She's so strong that she can do these twice in a row. I don't think she'll try a double dyno now. No.
No, Miho Nanaka, the attempt before was the one. So close. Anna Stor got one really good hand on the top hold. Miho Nanaka got 2, but still not enough. Akio Noguchi, the final woman to try this boulder too. So Akio, out she comes. Of course, never won a world championship. She's got a silver medal and a bronze medal. Never had a gold, which, when you think about the career she'd had, is maybe the one honour missing from the list. A world championship. Is today the day? Remember, we're missing Shauna Coxey, who won the overall World Cup title. Akio unlikely to have a better chance than today. She flash boulder 1. If she could flash boulder 2, she would absolutely take control of this final.
It's so interesting with Akio that she doesn't look so strong on the first sight like Miho does, but then she does some moves with ease that you don't expect her to do. She's so experienced. She has some special technique. And she manages to do everything she plans to do.
So again, as we saw with Miho Nanaka, let's have another look at that.
That was really close, even closer than Miho was.
Yeah, I think it looked as if the right hand landed on top of the left, and therefore her right thumb hit her left hand, and she maybe didn't get enough on the top volume.
Yeah, perhaps it was with both hands too much on the right side, so they both slipped and continued with the swing. So maybe she'll try again with the double dyno, but on the left side, on the very left side of this volume.
That's how close Miho and Akio have been, that we're analysing how both hands landed on that top hold. That's how close they are, but as with Miho, Akio taking a good rest because it's a physical boulder this, and I think Akio's probably pretty confident that she's got the beat at 99% right, if not perfect. So it's more a case of resting than just trying and trying and trying.
Yeah, it's always a question of experience to decide if you'll take 2 more tries or just 1 more try when you know what's the sequence, you know how to do every move. I don't know, I think I still lack this kind of experience in deciding what to do, because I'm afraid that I'll mess up with this 1 try if I leave it just with 1. And then sometimes I take too many tries because I'm afraid that I'll lack some tries, that I'll figure out something new if I tried more. But then the only thing that I lack is just strength and energy.
Well, Akio Noguchi, she's left the ground with about a minute on the clock, so I think she's thinking this will be her last attempt, but there's enough time for another should she need it.
She'll take another one probably.
Yeah, she didn't use every second of rest she could have done, so I think in the back of her mind she's thinking this might take another attempt.
Yeah, she has the backup.
She has got the backup of time. She'd like it this time though, because recovery will be the issue. Here she goes, eyeing up that top hold. No. So she got 15 seconds. I don't think you can even really call it rest. It's just enough chance for a couple of breaths and a chalk up.
Exactly.
So, Akio Noguchi, if she doesn't do it this time, Women's 2 will remain unconquered by our 6 finalists here. Akio and Anna Sturr have done the best on it so far by flashing the bonus, but nobody has topped it.
I think that the judges are currently discussing whether she has put her left foot on the volume. She might have touched it with her heel, but I'm not sure if that was a correct start.
Academic anyway, as it turns out, so luckily we're spared any technical appeals because Akio Noguchi does not succeed. A bit like Miho Nanaka, it was the second to last one that you thought was a real chance to do it. And Elena Krasovskaya is back out. So, first look at Women's 3.
This one looks like a Dido, which should end with a foot hook on the 3rd volume.
Yeah, that's right, Stasha. I had a privilege of having a look at this boulder on the stage earlier. It's going to be interesting to see how they climb this, but it looks like, obviously, it's all 4 points on the volume to start. There is a handhold and a foothold on that volume. Root says that's okay. The root says they're intending that you go up to the first hole with your right hand, and then you're going to spin and face the crowd and sort of campus through. Whether that's actually what goes down, we're going to see. Obviously, the female climbers are particularly good at matching different types of holds, but this is the point where she's apparently going to take her feet off and cross through. But yeah, like I say, the root said that was their intended method, but let's see, that's going to be really hard to read. Obviously, if you were standing underneath this, is that what you would have thought?
Well, I'm not a fan of matching the holds. I really don't like it because maybe I have big hands, but that's not the first solution I think of when I see a problem.
It's going to be interesting to see how we develop with the different methods. Obviously, it's quite a complex start here as we go through the final list. Different climbers using different methods. It's going to be interesting to see which one works. Stasha next to me just feeling through, climbing it in her mind.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out, maybe it is actually the matching sequence, and it looks quite logical from this point of view that you really have to do a 360 turn.
Just got a question come in here on Twitter from Lucas. Stasha, I just want to ask, not every day can be a good day when you're climbing. What do you do to kind of get through those days that are just, you're having a bad day, you're not climbing so well? What gets you out of bed in the morning to think, right, I'm going to train even though I don't want to?
I always try to think of all those good moments that happened before and all those amazing competitions that I've been to and places I've visited and what climbing brings me. So I know that hard work always pays off. No matter what, I know though that if I really work hard and try to broaden my horizons in climbing, in style, in power and everything, I know that it will pay off once. Even if I go for a run one day, I know that if I get tired and run out of oxygen during the round, that run will help me to recover faster.
Yeah, so it's like a
It's just
visualization
tiny
the whole
things.
time. Always visualizing the next big thing and remembering back to
Exactly.
what went down before.
Exactly. It's just every tiny piece of your effort that you put in trainings and your whole mental preparation, everything pays off in competition, because that makes you a complete athlete, a complete climber, competitor. So you have to know how to use all your pluses.
Back onto the competition then, women's number 3, Elena, has managed to match those holds. The route setters potentially thought that was possible, but not the most easy method to get through there. But Elena making really good progress now. One more move and she'll be up into the bonus. So she'll be really pleased with this attempt so far, having not topped either of the first 2 boulders. Women's final here, Stasha, really starting to heat up.
Yes, this one looks really hard. It's crimpy one, comparison to the last boulder.
Oh, Elena
Runs out of time.
Krasvskaya just out of time then. So no top again for her, but you know, she'll be so proud to make the finals. It's so
Yes, it
difficult
is a
just to
big
make finals.
success. It is a big success just to come and be in the finals, to experience it. It's amazing. But sometimes you actually really feel bad if you know that you haven't shown your best, or that you were really lower than other competitors, as had happened to me last year in
Just as
in
we have a
Munich.
look at the replay there, under the roof, the route setters were saying like smearing your feet on the back wall there. It's incredibly difficult to actually keep the tension, to keep your feet back, keep your feet on the wall. But Megan Mascarenhas, you would have climbed with her a lot. A very strong climber, really strong in the arms. Do you think she might fare a little bit better on this one?
I don't know, I hope so, because she knows how to think during her climbing.
Here we go, she's eyeing up that method. I thought she was there. Oh, look at the strength there for Megan
Yes.
Mascarenhas. Pretty much a one-arm pull-up through there. Incredible
She is
scenes
strong.
here in Paris. It's Megan Mascarenhas making short work of the start of women's 3 so far.
Yeah, this looks quite a promising attempt. I think she'll make it, because
So it's a
she
good
has
angle
this
there.
blocking strength. She knows how
just-
to hold these crimps. Now just the statical way up.
You can just see the top section is a pure slab, so a big mantle. Rousseau is suggesting that she's going to push into the corner there on the far left. You can see the red section of the wall with the chalk on it.
Yes, yes, yes.
Will she need to get it? Megan Mascarenhas looking really solid now on women's number 3.
Yeah, she will, because she needs to put her foot up. She was too short to go directly. And that
Here
will
we
be a
go.
top match. Well
Yes. Megan Mascarenhas looking really good now in the final World Championships here in Paris. Megan Mascarenhas has really set the bar high for the rest of the athletes.
done. They'll have to try hard now. But I don't think it will be a problem for other competitors as well. I think they're all good at crimps. We'll see.
So a flash from Megan Mascarenhas. The 2 boulders she's topped, she's flashed them both. Bonus on her 4th attempt on boulder 2. We see it there. 2 flashes from Megan Mascarenhas from 3 boulders. Not a bad start to a World Championship final, puts a lot of pressure on the other climbers. And they'll know from the fact that Petra Klingler was out earlier than she might have expected to be onto this boulder that Megan Mascarenhas will have either flashed that boulder or done it in very few attempts. And we will watch Petra. Again, you would have thought power not an issue for Petra. Such a multi-discipline climber.
She is the definition of power.
She's, as you say, definition
yeah.
of power. If you compete in the ice climbing World Cups, this sort of move will be no problem whatsoever. She might not even need that left wall. I think she's spotted
she
there.
needs it. She needs
There
it.
she needs it, yeah. Apparently the route setter say it can be done without, but it does make your life an awful lot easier, and we can see it there. Petra, both hands on it.
Another flash. Well done. Seeing on her videos of trainings, you can see that she really is a power climber. She works a lot on her upper part of the body. Also by her physical definition, we can see that.
And you said something really interesting earlier about Megan Mascarenhas about 2 minutes ago. You said she's able to think during the boulders. Just expand on that a bit more. That was a really interesting point you made.
Well, watching her, especially in this flash mode system, qualifications and semifinals, when she goes in her flash try, if she sees that the solution she thought of is not right, she can go back, she can think through, she doesn't lose energy, and she can fix the mistakes she made. So she's like a real flash climber, and she knows how to think fast during the try.
So I just thought there might be a minor technical incident there. As soon as we see the men in suits on the mat and a man with a drill, you do get slightly nervous. I think that's the man on the drill there is Percy Bishton. He is chief route setter for our bouldering across the World Championships. So he's a man who's had quite a workload this week. When you think we've got men's qualifiers, women's qualifiers, semis and finals, he's I think it'd be fair to say earned his money this week. And he even gets his moment in the spotlight with his drill. So I suspect there was just a very loose hold, now been drilled back on, screwed back on by Percy. He did a great job in front of the crowd. He's a natural. So just to confirm for you there, 2 flashes on women's 3 by Petra Klingler and Megan Mascarenhas. Here's Anna Stor.
Anna in this one. I think it'll fit her style. Hope so. Won't say anything too early.
Now, attempts, as they were in the men's final yesterday, are going to be absolutely vital here because Petra Klingler and Megan Mascarenhas both flash boulder 1 and boulder 3. Anna Stor, she needed 3 attempts on boulder 1. If she wants to keep the pressure on, you'd have thought a flash required here.
It's good to see that we have the boulders actually climbed and done, not as we saw in male semifinals. It was real suffering.
She's certainly going the right way about it, Anna Stor. Almost looked as if she hurried those moves slightly.
She did, and her foot slipped, but she looked amazingly confident in this campusing.
While we see Anna Stor recovering, we've got another question from Twitter. This is from Francesca. I don't know if this is the same Francesca who was criticising my French accent yesterday. But it's okay, Francesca. I've definitely been called worse on the internet. I can deal with it. Thick skin. She wants to know, I always wonder how athletes decide when to go for another attempt or not. Are you doing the attempts math?
Well, you're kind of calculating how much energy you have left, how pumped you are, and what is required from you on this boulder. If it's a slab or for example a dyno, you just go for it. You don't lose too much energy on trying. But if it's overhanging and the campusing power moves, you just can't keep, doing it, because you just run out of energy, and then it makes no sense. You just know when your forearms get unpumped, you try to restart, even though it's not quite possible during the finals because you have only 4 minutes and you barely get to breathe.
So that was a successful top there from Anna Stor, second attempt, not the flash that we've seen from 2 climbers so far. But yeah, it's an interesting point, and it's a good question, because we saw that with Akia Noguchi on women's 2 this morning. I'm losing track of time. You can't see daylight from this arena.
It's dark here, so yeah, you have no idea what the time is.
We saw that from Akia Noguchi. She had 1 attempt, but the boulder was so physical that she thought her time was better used to rest. But
yes, but I think she should have rested a bit more, because she went for a try when it was 50 seconds left, and then she had only 15 for the last try. It was not enough.
But then again, it's a massive judgment, isn't it? Because she obviously thought, well, if I go with 50 seconds to go, I've got this is my big attempt, but then, hey, if I don't quite make it, I've got time for another. But perhaps she would have been better just giving 100% to one attempt.
Yes, I agree, yeah.
It's a well-timed question because it's already been quite evident in this final that how many attempts you take and when you take them is key.
Yeah, it's also, you need to take into consideration the future boulders you're about to climb. I mean, you can't get wasted on the first one and then not be able to do anything on the further ones. But now we've seen Miho doing it quite differently, rotating on a totally different side. And she got her arms all crossed over, so she fell.
Yes, remember, of course, we have had an observation period. The climbers have seen these boulders. We didn't live stream it because it took place before the arena was open to the public. But they have had their observations, so they do know what's coming up. It's not like it will be a surprise to them and they walk up and see boulder 4. They know what to expect. And do you take into account future boulders? I mean, especially in the final, you've got relatively long rest periods. Do you still think, actually, number 4 looks really physical, so I might give boulder 3 a few less attempts?
Yes, you actually do think about those, but not as much during climbing, but more during rests, because you know, okay, now it's a slab, I won't get too pumped, so you're trying to, I don't know, sort your energy through the boulders, so you can do your maximum with what you have. This looks like a successful attempt.
Okay, Miho Nanaka, fighting her way onto this top slab. The other girls have made this move left onto the palm look relatively easy. Miho really fighting it, but there she gets it. And you'd have thought she'll bring it home from here. One hand, two. Top from Miho.
She got quite some troubles on the crimps and on the start of the boulder. I didn't quite expect that, but she managed to finish it anyways.
And we just going back to our discussion about how many attempts you take, particularly in the final when you've got a long rest period. What do you do when you're back in isolation? Do you tend to just sit down and literally try to use no energy, or do you move? What do you do?
I personally, the first thing I do is to drink some water because I don't want to dehydrate during the finals, and I do a lot of stretching, especially arms, biceps, triceps, forearms. Sometimes legs. If I have to prepare for a slab, I do some stretching for my legs. Also, if it's a dyno, I jump. I just try to prepare my body for the type of moves I'm about to get in.
Yeah, it's interesting comparing this to other sports, because you think about cycling. Cyclists are famous that when they're not on the bike, they don't move. They won't get off the couch. They don't like going for a walk. They don't like to do anything. I know it's different here because it's effort and then you rest and it's another effort, but it's just interesting the different processes required.
I'm sorry, I just have to say that I think that Miho and Akio have looked the boulder in this exactly the same way, with the crossover on the wrong side, but Akio seems to be a bit stronger in crimp, so she held the move. We'll see what she'll do in the mantle. And yeah, going back to physical preparation, I mean, you as a climber, now in this modern climbing, you have to do many things for your body. You have to develop your body in every single sense. You have to be good at statical moves, dynamic moves. She looks surprised.
Yeah, that was a great facial expression from Nihon and from Akio Noguchi. Sorry, so couldn't quite believe it. That the move looked relatively solid, but perhaps didn't feel it because she looks as if she was almost surprised to make that. Let's have a look where she struggled, or where she might have felt insecure. I think it might have been here when she got the other hand onto this yellow volume.
Yeah, when she held the crimps, she stopped the rotation, the right hand didn't go off, and maybe that move also surprised her because it was obviously the wrong way around.
So there we go, a very tight final here. As it stands, Akio Noguchi, we've just seen her, she leads away ahead of Petra Klingler, Megan Mascarenas, Anna Stur and Miho Nanaka also have 2 tops, but they are not currently in the top 3 positions. Elena Krasovskaya, she'll finish 6th here. She cannot move up.
Just to have a look at our first women on boulder number 4. Final so far has been incredibly tight. It's an absolute nail biter considering no climbers top number 2, which means it's all going to come down to the final boulder, and that is a pretty cool way to finish the World Championships here. 6 climbers on one boulder to battle it out who becomes the winner. Currently Kia Noguchi 2-2, Petra 2-2, and Mega Mascarenas also 2-2. Anna Storr, not forget, 2 boulders in 5, and Miho 2-5. So it's all to play for. I think attempts is going to be the key here. If this boulder is done, obviously if it's done by more than one person, it will definitely come down to attempts. So it'll be really interesting to see how this final boulder plays out here.
Yeah, for those of you watching IFSC Bouldering for the first time, the scoring system can initially seem intimidatingly complicated. The maths can be occasionally very difficult, but the scoring system is not as tough as it initially looks. The most important measurement is how many of the 4 boulders you manage to get to the top of. If the competitors are tied, it then comes down to how many attempts those boulders took. If the competitors are still tied, it comes down to how many bonus holes they got. There is a bonus hold midway up each boulder. It's marked with yellow tape to denote it. If the competitors are still tied on boulders, number of attempts and bonus holes they got, it comes down to how many attempts it took them to get the bonus holds. So that is our 4-tiered scoring system.
Speaking of things, Charlie, that are potentially quite complicated, women's boulder 4 is definitely complex, and you can tell that Elena, the Russian athlete, is trying very many different methods. Route setters kind of, they suggested quite a few different methods. I think it could be a number of sort of hop, skips and jumps across these bottom blue volumes. There is a sort of a large undercut volume just by her left knee, so they do believe that's going to be used as a toe hook. So fire up with the right hand, push out to that bonus. Oh, right on cue. Elena from the Russia nails the toe hook. Really, really cool move there, and really hard to get right. Making good progress there. Great angle as she works her way towards the top of this final problem. It'd be great to see Elena get a top to go out with the World Championships in final. Really finish her competition off with a well-deserved top. You see those holds aren't great there, and this is another move. She's going to have to sort of fire across the wall and land the right foot. Oh, just skips and loses her feet there. Yeah, just as we were saying, from that bonus hold, it's quite a similar move actually to the one before. Firing across to the right and landing the feet at the right time in the right place. And after that, it's a big move to finish, up to a bit of a slam dunk hero finish.
Yep, so just a second ago I was talking about how the scoring system works. When we get a score up on screen, I'll explain how it's written. The numbers are basically written the most important number first. So when you look at the scoring, the furthest number on the left is how many tops the climber has. So that's the most important. Then the next one to the right is how many attempts those tops took. Then the third number is how many bonus holes they got, and the fourth number is how many attempts those bonuses took. So Elena Krasovskaya, she'll finish 6th here regardless because everybody else has 2 tops already, and she doesn't have a top, so she can only end up with a maximum of 1 top. So she will be 6th, and unfortunately she's going to finish this final here without a top. Well, what an experience. World Championship final.
Yeah, she's definitely going to be pleased with that. This is where it's going to start getting really, really sweaty in here. But the next 5 climbers out all have 2 tops, so this is where it's going to be decided right here. And the first one to see what she can do will be Mega Mascarenas.
Yeah, extraordinary going into this final boulder. If only one climber out of the next 5 tops it, they win. Provided no one else tops it, I should add. If only one climber of the remaining 5 tops this boulder, they will be the world champion.
However, that is looking, I don't know, for me it's looking unlikely because Elena made really good progress there, and it's going to come down to her attempts, I think, which is going to make it a real nail biter here in the commentary box.
It's been extraordinary actually because boulders 1 and 3 were topped by 5 climbers. They were topped by Kia Noguchi, Petra Klingler, Mega Mascarenas, Anna Storr, and Miho Nanaka. Boulder 2 wasn't topped by anyone, but Kia Noguchi and Miho Nanaka got pretty much as close to topping a boulder as you can possibly get without managing it. So here's Mega Mascarenas. First attempt not successful.
Yeah, she figured out a sequence the first try, but she just went with her body away too much, like outside. So she couldn't stick with her left foot, but I think she'll do it in her second try. But the move onwards is quite difficult and probably requires some dynoing and jumping to the small pyramid on the right. Definitely. And this cheetah hold, which has a double texture, it's a model which has a line which is slippery and that prevents pinching it and matching it the other way.
So here she goes. Will she spot the toe hook this time?
Yeah.
There it is. Just goes to show how vital that is. You control pretty much your whole lower body with that toe hook.
Yes, with such moves you just have to know them, you have to practice them. It's not about your physical strength or anything doing with your preparation. It's just the skill of doing such coordinated moves that you have to simply train and practice and do a lot of times so you're ready to flash them when you see them on the comp. Yeah, you just can't turn your hand on this left bonus.
I think, Stasha, when we have a look at this move that Megan Mascarenas, we'll come back to that in a second, just have a quick update on the scores. As Charlie was saying there, the first number is the important one, 2 tops, 2T2, 2 tops in 2 attempts. And it's, potentially it's going to come down to attempts here and attempts on the bonuses. Just going back to what I was saying there about this last move, from this long bonus hold, it looks like it's quite far out on the right. I think we might end up seeing the climbers sort of firing to the blue hold and dropping down and hopefully then scrambling back up and making their way up to the final move.
Exactly, I think that's the sequence here, because I don't think there's the other easier way of doing it. You just simply have to jump on the blue one and stop your body by stepping on the very right volume. And then the way up is also hard because you have the foothold on the right hand side and you have to move your body on the very left, which makes it harder, and you have to compress, hold all of your body on the left side so you can actually go straight and don't lose balance.
So this is a little bit similar to what we saw Elena trying right at the death, trying a different method. It's just too much for Megan Mascarenas on the final boulder. So she will move into a provisional first place based on the attempts on the bonuses. But it just wasn't meant to be for Megan. She couldn't quite find the method moving out right there. It's a great close-up here of her final attempt. And just, you can see her eyeing it up, but it's just too far to try it like that. I think you've got to go dynamically and you've got to land the foot. Right time, right place. Straight on with the competition then, no messing around. Petra Klinger currently sitting in 3rd position. Let's see what she can do this. Stasha Petra is a very dynamic climber, very, very strong, as we saw on the 3rd boulder. What do you think moving through on this problem?
I think she might be able to do it. Yes, she is dynamic, but I haven't had much chance of watching her.
The maths is really getting pretty spicy here as we go through to the finish. It's really getting tight in our score system. We're trying to keep up to date as we can, but it's really, really tricky. Petra Klinger then.
It's just the attempts I think on the bonus, because except if we see a top. But I don't think Petra saw this left foot solution. She went with her right hand up and hoped she'll stop on the left sloper, but didn't work out.
So Petra, remember, if any one of the climbers still to come out tops this boulder and nobody else does,
she looks surprised.
I don't remember the last time I saw that in a bouldering competition. Gets the toe hook.
That's the pure excitement of climbing and bouldering. When you actually did a move you thought you wouldn't. She thinks she knows how to do it. Yes, that was the move I thought.
What a fantastic moment, Petra Klinger. I'd love to see a replay of that.
Just
That was
the
like
last one.
That was like Akira Noguchi's whistle earlier on. Now this top hold is not as good as it looks. Petra, take your time.
She has to go up first. Wow.
Petra Klingler tops. She will be in the lead. 3 tops out of 4 for Petra Klingler. She can't believe it. That's
Oh
what
God.
it means.
This is emotional. This is amazing to watch. Really.
And the crowd, you might not be able to see it, the crowd are on their feet. She's getting a standing ovation here, Petra Klingler. There they are.
She knows she has the medal. And this is amazing because she wasn't in finals so often this year and last year as well. And this means to her a lot. I'm
I
happy
just
for her.
caught a glimpse of Kevin, one of the Swiss coaches who's heavily involved with the Meiringen World Cup earlier this year, giving Petra a hug. Well, we don't often see scenes like that in a bouldering final,
No,
either
we
the
don't.
climbing or the reaction. Petra Klingler. So 3 tops from 4 boulders. This was the moment. This was brilliant.
And look at the face. I hope photographers caught that.
Oh, that was wonderful. So, standout moment number 1 of Sunday here in Paris. Petra Klingler. Anna Storr, though, she's not done. She wants a hat-trick of World Championships.
She's under pressure. She knows it stopped. But she wonders how.
She can't
No,
catch
go that
Petra,
way.
though. Anna Storr can't catch Petra. Mike Langer, who's been doing the maths.
So just have a quick look here then, Charlie. I do believe Akio, well, obviously Akio can still win. If she flashes the boulder, she'll be doing it in 3 tops in 3 attempts, which will beat Petra by 1 attempt. If she does it on her second go, that'll be 3 tops in 4 attempts, which will be the same as Petra, but that'll be 4 bonuses in 5, which will mean she will take the victory. So as far as I'm aware, as the math stands, Akio has the ability to take the victory with 2 goes. This is what we want to see at the World Championships finals, an absolute nail-biter to finish. Anna Storr, unfortunately, it does look like she cannot win, but everyone wants to see another top. And, you know, it was absolutely incredible to see Petra Klingler there wearing a heart on her sleeve. It means so much for her to be here and perform so well. You know, she's been training so hard recently, and to come out and compete all week and do that sort of performance in the finals was really, really good. So, yeah, it's all eyes on Akio Noguchi when she comes out.
So Anna Storr, again, not spotting that toe hook that made Petra Klingler so happy.
No, she seems to miss it. Every time she goes in, she goes just with her foot away.
Well, what a fantastic bouldering final we're being treated to here. Same in the
It's really
men's
exciting.
yesterday. Attempts vital. But as it stands, Petra Klingler out on her own with 3 tops.
Again, misses it. I mean, in bouldering, you really have to think about a function of each single volume, because rarely there's a hold that is of no use. And then this time, she doesn't use the cheetah on the start at all, and I think she has to think about it.
So Anna's got 35 seconds on the clock. Doesn't get the crowd G'd up this time. Often
Yeah,
we
she
see
got
her
it.
do that.
Yeah, she just she
Oh, that
figured
is-
out that it was a mistake to miss it.
That was a brilliant moment. A bit like Petra Klingler, a little point to the head from Anna Storr as
Oh.
if to say, now I
She has
get it.
16 seconds.
15 seconds in a World
She knows what
Championship
to do.
final. She'll go
She
for
knows
this
what to
again.
do. She likes when the crowd cheers for her. It motivates her to continue trying. Come on, Anna.
I think, yeah, a little shake of the head there. I think she might be annoyed at herself for not figuring that out earlier.
She had a lot of thoughts on it after the competition. Oh, that was so close. Too late.
So, Anna Storr, she won't get that final top, but that's what the crowd think of her this evening. This evening? I could keep making that mistake.
It's morning. Okay,
It is.
One.
It is
25.
afternoon.
Okay.
Keep reminding myself, it is the afternoon. Yeah, Anna Storr. 9 attempts on the final bonus there. And we see it there, Petra Klingler.
So
3
it's
tops,
just the
4
fight
attempts.
between Akio and Klingler. I mean, what Akio does will decide on the podium.
So tight here in Paris.
So as we see our penultimate climber out, Miho Nanaka. Obviously, if she gets 3 tops, that'll put her on a nice position, put her up to second place as it stands. It looks like this World Championships is going to be decided with the final climber on the final boulder in the women's. Yeah, really nail-biting. Starting to get really sweaty here in the commentary box, and everybody in the crowd is on the edge of their seats. Obviously, we're not quite there yet. We've still got Miho out, who's fighting for a silver or a bronze position here in the World Championship final, and she can't be disappointed with either of those medals.
She got the move.
Yeah, such a cool move that I think the route setters will be really pleased that the climbers are figuring that out, and it's actually a really complex move.
Yeah,
3 things
this
going on at
climb
once.
was really exciting, and I'm glad that it's this way, because it needs to be fun also and exciting for the audience and for climbers, and sometimes it's really hard to achieve.
Absolutely, the show at these sorts of arenas is so important, and the route setters look like they've absolutely nailed it once again.
Yeah, I agree.
So
Because you don't want a boulder to be unclimbed and just to have some cool moves that climbers cannot do, and it's not fun for anybody.
Let's have a really good close-up look here at Miho. So you can see that left toe just down and left of the shot, just on the edge, holding her in. Tiny amount of rubber on the shoe, just keeping her in contact with the wall. It just shows those people at home just the minute amount of contact with the wall that keeps the climbers on the wall and keep them going. Miho having another look then. They can have quite a lot of attempts on this boulder, as it looks like. Interesting that she's going straight to the bonus there, missing out the first left-hand green hold. But here we go, on the crux of the boulder.
Oh, she was too short. She didn't jump.
It's a really complex boulder, this one. At the start, you've got sort of a 3 points dyno, and then straight after that, another 3 points dyno. And it's all about the feet once again.
Yeah, 1 centimeter, and you miss the whole point of rotation. It depends on your foot how you will rotate and where you will land.
So 1 minute 15 left for Miho Nanaka to try and get onto the podium.
She figured out his first move, and now she does it with ease.
Yeah, it's amazing, the muscle memory to repeat that move. Here we go again then. One more look at Miho Nanaka, come on. Oh, this time nails it. Crowd's on their feet,
And
ready
now
for
just
Miho,
the
come
top.
on. Cruising, come on Miho. Yes.
Congrats.
Miho Nanaka finished the World Championships in style. Congratulations, look how much it means to her. Well done, Team Japan.
This final is so emotional. Oh, she kissed the hold.
Miho Nanaka's done everything she can possibly do. The crowd are on their feet once again.
Everything is on Akio now.
It's lucky we got headsets because it's so loud in here. Everybody just cheering on every climber, no matter what nation they're from.
Imagine the pressure on Akio now.
Well, if ever there was a moment to come out and perform, Akio Noguchi, this is your time.
So Akio Noguchi, the one honour that has evaded her in the extraordinary career, a World Championship.
Now, while we're figuring out the mats and what she has to do, let's see how she'll figure out this first move. She might seem to have some troubles and not seeing This is the hard way. No. 1 try wasted. She needs 1 more try.
So Aki Noguchi, the first attempt, not successful. Of course, that would have been the ultimate way to win a world championship, walk out and flash the last boulder. So she'll have another look.
Well, full of turnovers here. No, don't go
Now
that way.
trying it.
No, that's
I wonder
not
if
the
Aki Noguchi knows what she needs to do. She's using completely different beta to everyone else. But I have to say, it looks quite promising. No.
No. And I think we have our winner, do we? Yep. I think that, yeah. I don't know why she didn't figure this out if they look together the boulder with Miho, then she should know what to do, but she doesn't feel quite confident in these moves. I don't know if is it because there's this modern style of climbing and she's more of an old school boulderer as Anna is. So Anna also needed some time to figure out what she has to do.
Well, it was one of the, if you like, it seemed quite a low-key moment, but Aki Noguchi's ended second attempt means that Petra Klingler is the world champion.
That's really amazing because this is, I don't know, please remind me, is this her first Petra's finals this year or it's second?
Yeah, she made the final in Kazo, fourth there, but otherwise a
And a world
solid,
championship. This is really amazing for Switzerland as well.
a solid, but you'd say unspectacular season from Petra Klingler. A good season, not a great one, but winning the world championship.
It's like you're planning to do something. You're aiming at the world championship to be in your best form ever, to be the most prepared just at that moment of the year. And no matter what happens during the year or during the World Cups, until you come to this, the biggest event of the season, and then you just show your best. That's amazing.
Quite extraordinary, really. As I say, sometimes you see world championships won like we did with Janja Garnbret tapping the women's lead final route last night, and it's this huge moment, but a slip from Aki Noguchi, and backstage Petra Klingler's the world champion. It's amazing that you can win it in so many different situations, but
Yes.
yeah, Petra Klingler will be the world champion.
But if you can actually win in so many different situations and in different moments, because in bouldering you never know till the end, but that proves that it was a good resetting this time, and that if you can fight till the last boulder and that you don't know till the last boulder who is on the podium, then it's not okay. But if you have this excitement of attempts and so much effort put in solving the boulders and making them actually possible, that's a good setting, that's a good competition, it's a good show.
Well, there we have it, the end of yet another staggering final here in the World Championships. The men's bouldering was unbelievable, the women's bouldering more than lived up to it, and the end result of it is that Petra Klingler is the world champion. Even bouldering fans that follow our climbers day in, day out, I wouldn't have thought many people had their money on Petra Klingler to win here, but
No, I don't think so. Nobody expected this.
But this afternoon, she was in her own league. That the top of women's four was unbelievable, and that's what it means. She just can't stop crying. I don't think she stopped since she had both hands on that top hold of women's four.
It's amazing to watch all these emotions. And this championship, it's full of them. Especially, I don't know, me personally, while watching paraclimbing and the visual pairing group, all the silence, the hall here is full, and it was a complete silence. You couldn't hear a single voice. And then when the competitor falls down, everybody, it's just like an explosion of voices. It really kicks in emotionally.
Just as we have a look back through some of the highlights there, you can see how much it means to Petra Klingler, and what an awesome bouldering finals. An absolute nail biter all the way to the end, and that is what we really wanted from this set of boulders. A really tense competition, and I would say, Charlie, this equalled the men's bouldering for me. It just comes down to the results and some brilliant boulders.
Yeah, I think in the men's final, the moment, if you like, was Manuel Cornu on men's 4 with that unbelievable battle. For me, it was Petra Klingler when she got that toe hook and suddenly realised that the path was clear to the top of women's 4. That look on her face when she turned and smiles at the crowd as if to say, I can't believe I figured this out. For me, that was the moment. More perhaps even than when she topped the boulder. It was when you suddenly realised it was on for someone that wasn't fancied to win this competition. Fantastic women's final.
Yeah, absolutely. How different things could have been for Miho and Akio not topping number 2 but having the last hold in their hands.
Yeah, it just goes to show because nobody topped women's 2. Here it is. This is the moment. Now that for me, that was the best moment of this women's final. This was a great moment, but the smile on Petra's face was amazing. And then it was a bit like we see at the end of the Wimbledon Championships in the tennis, where they climb up into the families box, and Petra Klingler went down the front, hugging the coaches, hugging her friends and family.
And this moment when Miho kissed the hold, it was the same like when Novak Djokovic won the Wimbledon, he ate the grass, so yeah, that was quite similar.
So we seamlessly move on. We will have the podium ceremony, of course, for the women's bouldering. First, we've got the men's AL-2 paraclimbing final. We don't really have time to even catch our breath, and I can see well, commentary box that some other members of our media team have grabbed Petra Klingler for an interview. Unfortunately, we can't speak to her via our live link right now, but we'll get an interview with her, and we will show you that on our highlights later this evening. Petra Klingler, world champion. And I believe we can speak to Petra via the live link. Petra, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
What an emotional moment, that was extraordinary.
Oh yeah, you can say that. It's like I still can't believe it. It's crazy.
And we saw you found the toe hook on that final boulder. This big smile on your face. Did you know then that you could do it?
I was just so surprised that this toe hook was still on, and I'm like, oh my god, okay, now or never. And it was just so much fun to climb this boulder. Like movements, you do them all the whole year through. You train them, but the hard thing is to do them on the comp in these few minutes. And I did it, and I was like, wow.
And describe, if you can, what it was like when you topped the boulder and you turn around, there's 8,000 people on their feet.
It's like a mind blow. It's nothing in your head anymore. It's just like happiness going through the whole body. Like, doesn't matter what the ranking would be. It was so much fun to climb this final. I was climbing my best I think I've ever climbed, and it was just a moment where all these hard trainings, they're just worth.
Well, we're going to let you go now, but before you go, I just want to ask one more question. Petra Klingler, world champion, how does that sound?
A bit weird still, but I guess I have to get used to it.
Well, get used to it because you won. Congratulations.
Thanks so much.
Well, that was a great result, being able to speak to Petra Klingler. That was a bit of a bonus. We weren't expecting to be able to speak to her, but one of our media guys, obviously been working on his rugby tackling. Rugby tackled her as she was ran out before she went to anti-doping and all the various administration things she has to do. So whoever that was,
doping really ruins the feeling of victory.
yeah, but whoever that was in our media team, I'll be buying him a beer later to collar Petra Klingler at the key moment. Well done, fantastic. Well, straight into men's AL-2 final. Stasha, you have to leave us. We're going to substitute you for Dave Bowes, Team GB. Thank you very much for your help. We loved having you as we did in Arco, and we hope we will see you have you in the commentary box again in the future.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot for your time.
Ça a changé sans dire de bêtises. C'était principalement des sapeurs-pompiers de France de montagne. Et chaque jour, c'était une nouvelle zone, un nouveau département. Donc, mille merci pour tout le travail. Merci aussi au Men in Black de Bercy qui était là avec nous.
He's just making his way into the commentary box, getting himself settled down. We've got Dave Bowes, Team GB, paraclimbing athlete who's already competed here in Paris. Dave, can you hear me? Headset working?
I can indeed, yes.
Thank you very much for joining us in the commentary box. Before we get cracking on this men's AL-2 final, how did you enjoy the experience of climbing here in Paris in front of this massive arena?
Oh, certainly experience. You've got such a huge crowd. It makes a big difference getting everybody.
And tell us what category you compete in. Just explain to our viewers that might not have seen all our paraclimbing coverage what that involves.
My category is RP3, which is power and stability issues. And it's the least severity of the.
Remember, of course, we did have Robin O'Leary. We've had him in the commentary box twice this weekend. He's been earning his beers. So he has, over the past few days, been explaining the paraclimbing categories for those who are new to the event. Very lucky to be joined by athlete Dave Bowes. As I say, don't forget, get yourselves on Twitter, hashtag IFSCWCH. If you have any questions for Dave, any observations about this afternoon's AL-2 final. And I am now remembering that it's the afternoon. I've been calling it evening most of the time. We're in a vortex here in the Accor Arena. Being treated to some amazing action. That women's bouldering final. Still getting our breath back, and we are straight in the AL-2. So, Dave, for our viewers at home, just explain what exactly AL-2 refers to.
Well, in the leg categories, there's two. There's AL1, which is not using your legs at all. Essentially putting yourself after the there's not a category for that this year. And AL2 is leg amputation. That can mean using either prosthetics or non-prosthetics. You'll see that maybe one, maybe two chaps in this round which do not use prosthetics. It's always been a bit of a controversy as to how that goes down. The athletes this year had a meeting yesterday with the IFSC and we're working to making things
And just explain what you mean by the controversy.
It's the fact that if you have a prosthetic, you essentially bridge out and use it to rest on. People that don't use prosthetics, they just use one leg, you don't get that chance to bridge balance.
Yeah, because ultimately, even though it's a prosthetic, you've got 4 points of contact instead of 3, which, as I say, even if it's a prosthetic, is, I would assume, a fairly big advantage.
It is a massive advantage, although, as you can see, there's one guy in the finals anyway, but the absolute favourite of the competition, Urko, which has dominated the sport ever since it started, was unfortunately not able to make it through the finals. There's one move in particular that's quite a stretchy move, and unless you're very tall or have the prosthetics, it's very hard to get past.
As you say, Urko, bit of a legend as well. I watched him in the semi-final. It was a bit of a surprise that we're not seeing him here in this afternoon's AL-2 final. We do have 5 climbers taking part. Dave, you'll know these guys well. Look at that list. Thoughts on who might be onto our podium?
Well, I've been following Ronnie Dixon this year. He's been training very hard at home. Lost a lot of weight strapped on. The other guys, I've not had too much time
Yeah, we say 5 men taking part in this afternoon's final. I'm going to give it a go on my Spanish pronunciation. I have had some tuition on these names, various members of the paraclimbing world, but Spanish, not my language. If you heard me reading in French yesterday, you'll know that's also not my language. I think the moral of the story is stick at what you know. But I will have a go. Ronnie Dixon, teed up for Team USA. Frederic Lays of Belgium, Julien Gasque of France, and then we have Ivan Germain Pascual, okay, man? That's well. I do apologise. I really do apologise. Spanish, one of those languages I've never had much joy with. Albert Guardian Ferrer will be 5th. Dave, can you improve on any of those pronunciations? I've actually spent quite a lot of time sport climbing in Spain, but beyond Venga and ordering your food, it's a language I really struggle with. Apologies for my Spanish pronunciation.
While we're waiting for guys to come out, one strong favourite this year was Jimmy and Philip Mitchell. He was looking incredibly strong. He was at the same point as Airco. They both got stuff on the same move as pure height. Excellent move. It was very tense.
Yeah, of course, Phil was on our highlights package. You can see him climbing on the new highlights package. Go back and check that if you want to see some Esme Hart, who also competes in women's AL-2. This route on the enormous lead wall here in Bercy, just to give people a bit of an insight. These climbers here are on one leg, some of them also using a prosthetic, but some of the climbers literally just with 3 points of contact. Roughly what grade can we expect climbs to be in a World Championship final in AL-2?
Well, this wall was using Chapman last year. I would have put that grade back then at 70 plus. Was using the same route as our meet doing. I'm expecting that they might have gone up at the championships. Big seems to have gone up this year. But overhangs certainly favour leg empties, but they're using statistics as well.
Just explain what you mean by that.
Well, if you go up the speed qualifications, it's quite hard for people that don't have an extra point of contact or an extra push to be able to get through to that wall just like yoga. Whereas if you've got an overhang, you can do a lot of dynamic moves quite comfortably. You end up usually having larger holes to go to. So diving at dead point makes it quite more easy.
So potentially levels the field slightly.
Yeah, definitely.
That type of wall.
I would most definitely say past experience seeing to present to local
wanting to be in final
Ronnie Dixon. Shortcut before the final steepest section of this wall. The arena still packed here in Bercy. Most people you'd have thought would need to go and have a lie down after the women's boulder final, but I'm delighted to see that 99% of our crowd are still in the arena watching this AL-2 final. Ronnie Dixon's looked for himself very steepest part of this Bercy wall. If you've watched all our coverage, you'll be fairly familiar, I'd imagine, with the basic shape of this Bercy wall. The AL-2 final lead route goes just to the right of the massive triangle that dominates the centre of the wall. You can see it there, just on the top left corner of the screen. That's a huge red triangle that we've seen so much of this weekend. The AL-2 final route going just to the right of it.
see a perfect move there. Bonnie's done the minimum flag through. That's where the extra weight on the Emperor's leg really helped out.
So Ronnie, yeah, fantastic. We will wait the scores update. Just over halfway up this wall would be my estimate. We don't have a route map for this paraclimbing route. It's being adjusted relatively late on. So we have time to produce a route map for us. So that's just past half height. We'll wait as the scores update. Dave, people that are used to watching league climbing competitions, obviously we normally see the league climbers in league conventionally flicking quick thrusts to go. Just explain why in Paraclimbing at 24 plus for Ronnie Dixon. Just explain Paraclimbing pro system.
The system is put in place, I believe. Imagine if you're blind or you have one arm, you can't see everything going up. And I'm pretty sure it's to make it fair across the board. So, and the reason why there's a double quick draw system is just so that you've got that massive overhang So once you get halfway, the second rope starts to pull in.
Yeah, the wall is so overhanging here that obviously the top rope anchor at the very top must be at least 10 or 15 meters out from the start point. So if you were to fall off early on, you could take a fairly enormous swing. So that is why the AL-2 climbs on the second top rope, just to control the swing. Rehearsing the lower moves. Dave, you a man that likes to memorise a whole route or just a crux moves? What's your general approach?
I would love to be able to recognise the whole route. Unfortunately, each of my training is only memorised about 2. That's why I'm a boulder.
D'ailleurs, on va les citer, les ouvreurs para, parce que c'est très dur pour eux d'ouvrir. Ils ont évidemment peu pas de handicap. Ils essaient des fois de se mettre dans la place des
Mike Langley, professional route setter and very observational chap, spotted that Freddie's flying without a chalk bag.
That was also a mistake taken by Daniel David 2 days ago. Was it yesterday? Had to very kindly ask John Churchill to borrow his bag for his final.
John Churchill, of course, member of Team GB, competes in visual impairment. His coach, Robin O'Leary, has joined 4 times already this weekend. This is men's AL-2 in the amputee category. You see there the difference in the prosthetic made, because obviously without that hole is just out of bounds effectively.
Absolutely. You are just hanging on one side, just trying to lever off nothing really push on.
Freddie's onto the steepest section, setting at a bit of a faster pace, I'd say, than Ronnie.
Starting to get the wobbles.
Yeah, starting to get the wobbles and trying to figure out how to get this right hand up. He's going to drop down and compose himself. Doesn't seem to be missing his chalk bag, so he doesn't feel he needs one. He didn't even go for it. For the route setting team, how can the route setters prepare for setting paraclimbing routes? How much do you work with route setters so that they understand the constraints they're working under when setting routes for paraclimbing?
Well, in actual fact, we had a meeting and sat down with the IFSC yesterday as parathletes and tried to look for ways that we could work together in the future to make things suitable across the board for each category. Yeah, hopefully in the future they'll see some videos of us climbing, different styles, some interaction as well.
As you just saw there, you can tell he was there for a minute or so, just trying to figure out those moves. Went one way and halfway through the move realised it was a mistake, couldn't get back on in his 18 plus. So currently leading away 24 plus 3 climbers still to go, including Yask. I suspect he might get a fairly loud cheer here. Here he comes onto the stage, men's AL-2. And there's the crowd. In case they hadn't heard the MC, they see the light blue French tops. They don't really mind who it is. Once they see one of them, they start cheering.
So Dave, just before we see the French athlete on the lower section of the route, just have a quick question for you. I'm quite curious really. You see some of the athletes wearing the prosthetic lower leg. The technology on those prosthetics, is it standardized for the competition, or is it down to the individual, the country they come from? These things are obviously extremely expensive, and does that vary in the countries as to what technology they have?
Well, yet there's no standard or limitations as to what you are allowed and not allowed. So Ronnie Dixon, he's got a spring in the middle of his prosthetic,
right.
And since losing his leg, he decided to go into the prosthetic industry and help create others.
Right.
So he's right in the middle of the industry. Some people are stuck with, for example, back in the UK, good old NHS legs. And Esme was lucky enough to get in touch with Bonnie at the last World Championships. He came over and offered his services to try and help out. She now uses the leg. The company that he works for.
Well, he obviously must be doing a good job because Esme from Britain managed to secure a bronze medal here yesterday. So, you know, as a climber and a prosthetic producer, I suppose, or a designer, he's obviously the right man to be doing the job for them. Julien here making good progress so far, looking really confident on the route.
Yeah, he's certainly making mention of it. He's not tiring so far.
Do you find obviously some of these athletes are missing a leg on the left, some are missing on the right? You know, would you say because it's a one route final that one climber may have an advantage over another depending on which side the route may kind of climb easier? Sorry.
I guess that from what I can tell, the route setters will have thought about including both sides, but to some extent, there will be certain sections where it will be left side favoured, right side favoured, and it's just going to be a bit of a mix-up as to how you can get through it.
Yeah, I can't imagine how difficult it is to route set for something like this, but here we go then, Julien looking good here, but it's in a really hard section. You can see how small those holds are through there. Great camera shot, just how close it's. Oh! Julien just blows it through halfway, kind of up the 45-degree section of the wall there. Wasn't quite meant to be for him just this time. French crowd, as always, though, Dave, very supportive of the athletes. Again, he obviously is French, but we've seen throughout this competition, doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, what country you represent, crowd is on their feet for absolutely everybody.
Yeah, the stadium lights up.
Super cool. So competitions that you've got coming up, we've got the British League Championships in Awesome Walls in Sheffield, and I do believe that is going to be a para competition as well. So once again, paraclimbing mixed with everybody climbing on the same event. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what kind of training you might be doing for that event?
To be honest, all the training that the whole team has been doing this year has been scaling towards this World Championships. And by the time we get home, we'll have about 4 days rest before we've got to go up to Sheffield. So it's all been about the world. Yeah, Sheffield is mentioned on the list. This is the big one.
Awesome. We have got Dave Bowes in the box with us, so if you do have any questions, get them in on Twitter, IFSC WCH. We'd love to hear from you. I'm sure Dave would love to be badgered with a few really tricky questions. So anything you've got, harder the better. Really challenge us here today.
I hear this should be an interesting one. This is a guy that managed to make the move with only one leg yesterday. Did not use the prosthetic, as you can see now.
So this is really interesting now. I do believe it's our first climber out without the prosthetic. So it's going to be, this is really, really inspiring.
You'll see a much more dynamic style of climbing with this guy, I can imagine.
So why is Ivan, the Spanish climber, why is he preferring not to use a prosthetic? What makes that decision? It's personal preference? You know, he is used to having one leg, he just doesn't need it, or what makes the difference?
For some people it's whether it's below or above the knee, so if they can actually move more of the leg. Some guys, if it's in a position where they could actually have a prosthetic or not, they might just find it easier to not have that extra weight, or to they can maybe just move a little bit more freely.
But as you can see here with the Spanish climber, it's almost like he has two legs. The way he moves his hips around, twisting one side to the other, dropping his knee, you can just see him just throwing his leg one side to the other, like I say, to find those body positions. His movement is just incredible. The way he sort of can move between the footholds on either side of his body.
Yeah, pretty much the double-sided drop knee. What you end up having to do if you've only got one leg and you're not using a prosthetic. My teammates Phil and Martin are incredibly good at it, and it just looks freaky.
Yeah, it's incredible to see here.
I was going to say, if you've got any more questions out there on Twitter, just hashtag IFSC
That's the one. IFSC WCH. It looks like Ivan was just a bit too much for him at the beginning there. I think he will be a little bit disappointed with that, unfortunately. Dave, would you expect the Spanish climber to get a little bit further there?
The midsection that I would have expected potentially a little bit further on, just because that's the angle it favours for people without prosthetic, I would say. Laterals, as I said earlier, but certainly helps people that use prosthetic.
So out next, a bit of a hero in climbing, Albert again from Spain. We saw this guy in qualifying. You must have seen him backstage. You know, he's a bit of a celebrity around here. What do you think to Albert and his climbing?
To be honest, I didn't get a chance to see many of the guys while they were climbing. Kind of aligns with me being on next to my qualifiers, so I was a bit wrapped up in my own head.
So again, it looks like the top qualifiers here are both without the prosthetic limb, so it'll be interesting to see if we can hopefully get someone a bit higher up the route. So far, kind of halfway up is our best, 25 plus. It's close underneath that with Germain Pascal, 24 plus, Ronald Dickinson, also 24 plus. Frederick Leeds, currently sitting in 4th from Belgium, 18 plus.
See there, probably a reason why they decided to use prosthetic. He's got quite a long amount of leg that he can use to reach a certain extent.
Yeah, absolutely. So will he be standing on that stump and using that effectively as a foot?
We can see right now that he just has stepped off the ground using that. So I can imagine he used that quite a lot.
Do you know kind of roughly how difficult this route may be? Obviously it's really hard to say having not climbed it, but do you know roughly the standard that these guys in the AL-2 are facing?
Yeah, purely because AL-2 and my category pretty much always get on the same routes for qualifiers and finals.
Yep.
And from my own perspective, with all them, it's very hard routes.
I have to say myself, after the last World Championships, I did kind of try to have a go at kind of practicing the different methods for the different paraclimbing categories, and the one-legged was it's particularly difficult. It's just so difficult to get the body positions right.
You really want to try and put yourself in the place of somebody who climbs with one leg. For a prosthetic user, just keep one leg straight and don't ever bend it. You'll find out quite how hard that is. If they don't use prosthetics, tuck one of your feet behind your ankles and then don't move that. Trying to resist kicking a leg out for a swing and a flag through is so hard.
So Albert here, potentially a little bit wrong-handed from the orange hole, but gets the match. Looking pretty solid so far. He's obviously incredibly strong. Qualified in the top spot for the final, so he is the favourite going into the final. Looking good here, but we've seen a number of climbers fall around this area on the wall, so really want to see someone get a little bit higher. Come on. Crowd's really behind him now. They know that that's a high point. He's really flowing now.
He's on fire.
Takes the top position. You can see why he's the favourite. Albert Gardier Ferreira from Spain. Taking it all in, just taking a look back at the crowd. They're all on their feet watching this guy.
It looks like he might have enough left in the tank to get to the top.
See a top right now would be incredible, but he's got a long way still to go. It's probably just over over halfway for sure, but a quarter of the wall left, maybe something like that. He's got a little bit of a way to go, but looking really solid, and he's gaining a bit of a rest there, so he will be getting some energy back. But Ali Albert, come on. I think the crowd is always so inspired when it comes to the paraclimbing. The noise here in the arena is absolutely deafening. I hope you can pick this up. Charlie beside me is just shaking his head. He can't understand how loud it is right now. The crowd
literally erupting as he gets onto the head wall.
Ali Albert, come on. Keep it going. Great shot there, his face. He's still looking pretty cool and collected. He's really putting on a show here in Paris. Davis, lucky we got these headphones on because it's deafening in here.
Absolutely. Come on, Venga.
Oh, brilliant performance there. The crowd is on their feet once again for Albert Gardier Ferreira. Brilliant effort. Takes the title, the World Championships AL-2 in the men's.
Absolutely smashed it.
There we see the crowd on their feet, applauding an extraordinary effort. Didn't quite get the top, but he's just made his way onto the head wall. No doubt who your winner here is today, though. Just having a quick chat with the Beal. I think he was just asking him, was that the highest?
He certainly looks happy.
Beal, I think, just pointing out where everyone else got to. He doesn't need to worry. Albert, he's a world champion.
Crowd again wants to erupting as he leaves.
Off the stage quickly. I thought he might milk it a bit longer, but I suspect the friends, family and coaches backstage are going to be getting hugged as we speak. Let's have another look.
Sticks in the air wave.
This was the section that proved problematic lower down for some of the other climbers, but you can see the power. I mean, we're saying, what, high sevens in terms of sport climbing grade. Just unbelievable power to do that. It's so little benefit from one of your legs. I mean,
It seems to be that move there which we just saw, which he just powered straight through without stopping. No one else seemed to pause on. I think that's what's pumped everyone else out.
I say, you've just got to keep moving, but easy said and done. But there we go, Spain 1 and 3 here in the World Championships. Country blessed with seem to breed climber, and they're taking her seen 8,000 people on their feet here in Paris watching paraclimbing. Seeing paraclimbing on this stage, what does it make you think about the future of your sport?
Well, we are definitely growing each year on year. There are a few categories that had to get cancelled at the last minute, about a month ago, and that's due to just not enough numbers being in to make the 6 athletes from 4 countries. So hopefully in future we can get more athletes into the sport in each nation. Maybe there might be some new rule changes to allow either small numbers of coming through or merging some categories together like there has been in the previous competitions. But it's just fantastic seeing it grow each year.
See here the winning run. That second to last move looked absolutely on the limit. This one just beyond. It's a shame we didn't get to see anyone tackle the final few moves at the head wall, but such is life. The route setters tread a very fine line in all disciplines, lead boulder and paraclimbing. It's such a fine line between making nobody can do it, a level where you get too many tops, but pretty fine effort I think there for the route setters. Clear spread. A wonderful final.
Absolutely.
So we're now going to see the podium ceremonies. First up, we've got the women's bouldering final. So here they are, our 3 medalists, 2 Japanese. They won't be on the top step. That will be taken by Petra Klingler. The emotion we saw from her as she topped that final boulder. Extraordinary moment.
Yeah, I have to say, Charlie, that's again, as per the men's bouldering final last night, one of the finest bouldering finals we've seen for a long time, and what a place to do it here in Paris. And like you say, Petra Klingler just in floods of tears as soon as she topped that final boulder. She knew she was in a good shout of winning, and it must have been really nerve-wracking for her to sit there and watch the last 2 climbers, especially Kiyo. She would have known that Kiyo needed just 2 tops to get the top, but Akiya Noguchi, amazing athlete and a well-deserved gold medal. Bronze medal. Exactly what I meant. Very similar in colour.
It's like me constantly saying it's the evening. It is still the afternoon. Yeah, Akiya Noguchi, bronze medal. So the elusive World Championship eludes her. She's a woman who's taken 2nd overall in the World Cups in 2016 and now has a silver in the World Championship can't help but feel ever so slightly sorry for Miho Nanaka. Second place overall in the Bouldering World Cups, as I say, to Shauna Coxey. Shauna injured herself in Munich. She couldn't take part here in Paris, and Miho must have thought that this was her chance to take the win, but almost from nowhere. This weekend has been dominated by one woman, Petra Klingler. Extraordinary performance. She stormed out in that women's final. And a performance on women's four clinched it for her in one of the finest moments so far of the stunning World Championships. Still can't quite believe it herself. The Swiss team are often some of the more socially active, shall we say, climbers that we've got on the tour. They're not adverse to an alcoholic beverage after a competition, and I suspect Petra Klingler will be leading the charge into Paris this evening. Okay, the Swiss national anthem. Petra Klingler, what a 2016. Dave Bowes next to me just remembered that she also won the European Championships in ice climbing this year and was 5th in the Ice Climbing World Cup. She now adds a World Championship in bouldering. That is what you call an all-round athlete. She's joined on the stage by Kei Noguchi and Miho Nanaka. As I say, Miho Nanaka, you'd have thought would probably have been most people's favourite for this evening. Kei Noguchi would certainly have been in the short list for taking the gold medal, but Petra Klingler, who looks as if she still cannot quite believe that she's standing on top of a World Championship podium with a gold medal around her neck, is the World Champion 2016 in women's bouldering. The men's and women's bouldering finals, both stunning events. I can actually see, not too far away from us in the crowd, a few members of the Swiss coaching team, a few of their athletes. I think the levels of emotion
Ladies and gentlemen, mesdames et messieurs, please welcome the male leg amputee medalists of the IFSC Paraclimbing World Championships 2016. Veuillez accueillir le podium des championnats du monde.
So we'll now have the podium ceremony for the men's at AL-2. We had an excellent final, 5 finalists. Ultimately, it comes down to 3 who will be on the podium. Spain collects 2 World Championship medals, one of them gold, one of them bronze, separated by Julien Gasque of France.
Bronze medalist representing Spain, la médaille de bronze représentant l'Espagne, Ivan Germain Pascual.
Germain Pascual, he takes the podium to claim his bronze medal. The crowd on their feet here in Paris. Delighted to say they've stayed not only to watch the men's AL2 final, they've stayed for both podium ceremonies. Great scenes here.
Representing France, la médaille d'argent représentant la France, Julien Gasque.
Julien Gasque, unsurprisingly, it's a loud cheer from this French crowd. They enjoyed watching him. Held the lead. Albert got on the wall. France adds to its already impressive medal tally for this championships.
française d'handi-escalade amputé jambe homme, représentant l'Espagne, Albert Guardia-Peler.
Is Albert Ferrer, world champion. Big handshake for his teammate, and of course the Julian Gasque. And Marco Scalaris, the president of the IFSC, will present him with the gold medal. I think he's going to enjoy this moment. We'll hear the Spanish national anthem.
Veuillez vous lever pour accueillir l'hymne national de l'Espagne.
Emotional scenes here in Paris, 1 or 2 tears shed on both the women's bouldering podium and the men's AL-2 podium. I think the Spaniards and the Swiss will be the teams to hang out with this evening, that's for sure. Might be a Sunday night, but I think the Bercy suburb of Paris will be coming to life this evening. So just as amended yesterday, the women provided us with a fantastic bouldering final. We will be back in just under half an hour with the women's speed climbing final. We'll be joined by Armo Torre, but in the meantime, thank you to Sierra, Blair Coyle, Stasha Gale, and of course Dave Bowes and Mike Langley for joining me. See you very shortly.